I think they play that card. They say, let's try to put him in trouble, see what happens. And then he got no more water, no more biddens for another 10Ks uphill. It is risky, but
All right,
clearly.
I'm here with Tour de France stage winner Juan Antonio Flecha. Juan, I really want to get your thoughts on stage 14 and stage 15 and whether or not this Tour de France is effectively over. But before we get to that, we need to give a quick shout out to our sponsors of this episode, MMR Bikes. I personally have the MMR X Tour, which is the gravel bike, and the MMR Adrenaline Aero. And I know that you have your own model. Which model do you have again?
It's the Grand Tour, which I have here. The bag has been already released and presented and from MMR, and it's basically, I would say, it's like the X Tour, but build that with components to be more on the road. So the Grand Tour says it all. Basically, it's like a bike that you will take more for long rides, bit on tarmac, bit on dirt roads as well. It's set up more with a road group set. And although I'm here with some 44s, as you can see, show you, look.
Those are new tires too, man.
Yeah, this is awesome. Look, it's like 44s, and they fit perfectly because there's so much tire clearance here. It fit at 44, and the slick, the totally tires. So this thing, when you go descend on really rough road terrain, it's even on tarmac, it's fantastic. It's just a different way of riding. And 105 DA2, so basic Shimano grip set, but it's so fast, it's so reliable that it fits perfect on this bike actually. So yeah, it's great fun bike, but more for long distance rides.
Yeah, you ready to go? I think the DI2 105 is perfectly fine for the everyday cyclist. Um, yeah, so today, I mean, a lot of action over the weekend, right? Stage 14, stage 15. I want to hear, what are your thoughts on Pogacar's approach to stage 15, specifically after basically asserting himself on Saturday? And I was really interested to see like what was going to happen today after that energy expenditure. What were your thoughts on his approach for today with the team?
Yeah, I like to see more in the Pyrenees context, right? Like a lot happened during this week. It's massive central with Jonas beating Pogacar, and I really like Pogacar saying, "All right, I'm not being intimidated by that, and I carry on with my plan, which was just making a hard race." And that's what happened on stage 14, in my opinion. UAE played perfectly, saying, "All right, we won this stage. We want to make it hard as well because that's the way. Quite likely, we're going to make Jonas struggle." Right? That's sort of what I think the strategy of UAE team from the beginning was to make from day one a hard race in order to interfere a bit on that famous third week where Jonas should be like coming up, right, and showing his good condition. But if you want to sort of make it harder, you just need to set up a higher tempo every day, and then that rider who's a bit below or behind in preparation struggles a bit more, right? So that was the theory says, and that's what UAE's been doing from the beginning, trying to make a hard race. Day one, hard, and as I said before, despite what happened on Massif Central, today really say, okay, I'm gonna go for it on the Pyrenees, and they make a hard day on Saint Lary, and again on Plateau de Bay they did the same. But if you look at which team were really playing for it, I would say UAE played very hard on Saint Lary on stage 14. Well, Visma took the turn and said, all right, this is our day. We want a hard day today. We want Jonas to go and try to get the stage. So at the end was today clearly saying, all right, I let him do his thing, and then I tried to, attack him, and that's what happened. And pretty much it's done. That's what everyone's now questioning after the Pyrenees. Is it over? What do you think, Calvin?
I mean, I was really, if we're talking about yesterday and we consider the Giro, Pogue, he's taking on the huge feat of trying to do both Grand Tours back to back. I've always been a little concerned about if that's going to come back to bite him. And then today we see how it played out. Um, I was waiting. I was waiting for that moment like we saw last year where he just went Pogue, I'm referring to, goes pop, and it didn't happen. Um, and then bringing up today's stage, do you think we, like as you mentioned, Visma Lease by wanted to make it hard today since UAE had their turn yesterday, stage 14. Do you think they made the right decision attacking from 10K out, or would you maybe have waited a little bit longer up the climb?
You never know. I think they were really relying on the fact that Jonas is performing well. It was a very suitable climb for him as well. 15 kilometers long, around 9% average. You know, Plateau Vale is hard, man. It's just never
Yeah.
rest. So it's just like, boom, constant 9% for 15K. So, I mean, they made it so hard. There was not many riders left that tend to go. And also, you have to consider one crucial fact here on this tactic is that the day that Jonas won the stage of Massif Central, everyone was talking about Tadej Pogacar having a bit of struggle with nutrition, with feeding, and all those things. So on today's stage in Plateau de Vey, the last moment where riders could get feed, they could get food from the roadside was 10 to go, right? So that's exactly the moment where Jonas goes. So probably he's been thinking, all right, if today does that mistake again, which can happen, from 10 to go, I have 10 kilometers to climb. That if I follow that protocol, feeding nutrition protocol, step by step, I should be fine. While I don't know what he might be doing. He might do that mistake again. So I see, from that point of view, I think they play that card. They say, let's try to put him in trouble, see what happens. And if you look, quite soon as well, today he had a soigneur there. He took a bottle from a UAE team member, and he finished. He threw it over his head, and then he got no more water, no more bidons for another 10Ks uphill. It is risky, but clearly he's done the homework before, right? But yeah, we have to sort of see it that way.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, on talking about Visma again, do you think on this, it's a stage like this, is this where Jonas is missing the likes of Kuss? Because Jorgensen did do a hell of a turn he was the last man there for Jonas. But do you think this is somewhere where Sepp could have maybe had the tempo a little bit higher before he launched?
100%. Imagine having someone like Sepp Kuss there, just doing another 5Ks. He could have easily done 5Ks. And then instead of being on the wing there, the front just riding, trying to, get rid of Tadej Pogacar, you just have your teammate there. That's what good climbers' teammates are mistake, and that's why they're so valuable, and that's what they want them for. And that's precisely what Sepp's excellence, where his job gets more reward as well, because you can't find many riders being able to do that, right? And I'm sure he will have been able to do it. And yeah, imagine him having such the mistake for 5Ks. I'm not saying more, just 5. It will have different, 100%. Will still today won the stage? Yeah, most likely, yeah. But different, on a different way. But it's the way it is, right? And yeah, he did his best, absolutely.
It's funny you mentioned 5K because at 5.5K is when Pogue launched. And I think, that could have made a difference if it was Sepp that brought him up to that point, and then Jonas launches from 5 instead of Pogue. And Jonas actually looked back to Tadej for a turn. I don't know if you noticed that, but I thought it was a bluff at first, to try to get Pogue to launch and then get him to tire out, and then Jonas would just catch up to him and then pass him later on in the climb, because 5K to go is still a lot. But no, it turned out like he was done, and I was really surprised to see that out of Jonas.
Yeah, it was quite again an explosive attack from Pogacar, and Jonas tried to stay on the wheel as well, tried to manage it a bit. Even Renko tried to manage that as well. But yeah, I think he was just stronger than anyone and on today's stage. And as I say, I think Visma and Jonas did their best. They played a really good card, and it didn't work as planned, but at least they gave it a good try.
Absolutely. And then we still have a week left to go on the tour. Stage 17, we're looking at medium mountain stage. Stage 18, we have 4 Cat 3s. Stage 19, 2 HCs. And then stage 20, we have 3 Cat 1s. So the tour, I mean, he's got Pogacar has a 3 minute gap now. Do you think the tour is effectively over? And if not, what do you think Pogacar needs to do going forward to secure his lead and the victory? And then what do you think Jonas needs to do in order to make up that time and win the tour? Or do you think it's out of reach?
Well, for UAE with 3 minutes gap, they can do whatever they want. I mean, they can play still offensive, they can play defensive, they can, go to the time trial with 5 minutes gap if they, if they want. They should plan that. They could plan that, right? I'm not saying that that's going to happen, but yeah, basically, I think UAE is going to still play like at least one more day in the mountains. They're going to go for it. I think at least one. But obviously they're a lot more relaxed now. 3 minutes gap, 5 minutes on Renko. It's pretty much done, right? It's pretty much done, unless you go through a crisis. So I think that's what they should avoid, or try to be safe there and play the bit cool, and not try to be that offensive anymore. And on the other hand, Visma has to keep trying. I mean, if they follow up like, by the end of the tour, we should be better. Jonas should be better. Last 3 stages, right? Like last 3 stages in the Alps plus the time trial. If we look at it, they are very important. They are important, and he has to try. Why not? Maybe he puts a bit more pressure, and if he does, then it's the last time trial, right? Where it's again back to the mental game, because Jonas last year time trial was very impressive if we compare it to Tadej's ones in the Tour de France. So as I say, UAE can play it as they want, and Visma has to be offensive.
Absolutely. Yeah, I agree. I agree. All right. Well, thanks for joining me again today, man. I'll see you again in our final episode after the tour ends. So we're going to see how this all plays out.
Yeah, thanks for inviting me, and looking forward for this last week of the tour.